Well, we began this transport of this 35-foot tiny home frame in McMinnville, Oregon. They stacked two frames together. These are going to be large tiny homes, 11 wide, 35 feet long. You know, they're going to be worth $100,000, maybe $200,000 when they're done. But we began by putting straps around it, attaching the wide load signs, putting the cones, the reflectives, the marker lights, the signals, making sure that the load is positioned properly and stationed properly, then strapping it down, of course. We added, of course, our truck and connected it to it. It's a 2 5/16 ball. And then we had to put the wide load signs on our truck itself, as well as making sure that the trailer had a wide load sign, as you can see here. So we arrived here at the fuel station at Pilot Truck Stop, connected, and we are about to get fuel. We're strapped down. We've already checked our load a couple different times. It appears that this is the condition of the trailer. It looks like all the wheels and tires and straps are completely secure and tight, and the trailer is doing just fine on its way. The marker lights and the flasher lights and the rear lights and the signal lights are all operational. The wide load sign remained on the frame itself. After we received some fuel or obtained some fuel, we prepared for the continuation of the trip. We inspected the rest of the frames to make sure that nothing has slid or moved or shifted. Again, these frames were strapped down by straps rather than chains, just for the protection and to protect the integrity of the frame and not to scratch or damage it. The wheels were brand new, polished, and I guess it just recently installed on the frame, so we didn't want to mess with any of that stuff. And the frames and the straps all seem to be holding just fine. They all kept tight together and secured. And because of that, we decided that we're going to, pre-trip or I guess re-inspect the load, and after getting fuel, we are ready to depart and take off back on the route. Here, this is a 35-foot trailer frame chassis, stacked, two trailer frames, 35 feet, stacked on top of each other, 4 axles. This is going to be a tiny home, or 2 tiny homes. They're 11.5 wide, so I want to show you guys the width of these. You see that? That's about 1.5 feet on both sides extending. That's 11.5 wide. That requires special permits, and we had to put in a request for the permits. The permit was issued, and on the permit you have to identify the route that you're taking, the address pickup, the address delivery, the times, and of course the DOT or the Oregon DOT would have to issue the permit. This allows this trailer to go on the road. This is an oversized load, or a wide load, however you want to call it. We put in, because this trailer does not have, or is not equipped, we put in portable lights here. These are magnetic lights that are mounted on here. These are connected by Bluetooth to a device up there in the front that's connected to the truck itself. And so they correspond by signaling left or right, or 4 ways, or stop lights. Basically work that way. They're a good investment to have. These are just simply marker lights, but they do also flash as well. So these are portable. All these are portable, by the way. Having some lights like these, especially to get 1,000 feet or 100 feet or so of clearance, is a good idea, because you can place them on any device, any trailer that's loose, that has no wiring, and you can indicate your directions as you travel on the roadway. Now again, this is a frame only. It will be built as a tiny home. Again, it's 35 feet long and about 11.5 wide. It is a wide load, so we had to strap it down. We didn't chain it because we don't want to mess the frame itself, but we did strap with 4 different straps, actually 5. Looks like one. I think these are rated for 3,500 pounds each. 2, 3, 4, and I think there's the 5th one. There's 5. 5 straps, or 4 straps, that is. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, the total weight of these 2 frames together are about 3,500 pounds. Each strap holds up to 3,300 pounds of pressure. It's supposed to, so 4 of them should do the trick, especially because the one on the bottom is already connected to the bumper 2 5/16 ball there. So anyway, the upper one is just literally sitting on the bottom bunk, and is just strapped by straps. We also need to make sure we mark the points. Normally we put flags on this, but we haven't used the flags. This time we use cones. They're a little more reflective, and we zip tie them to the corner posts here. We got them all on 4 corner posts. As you see, there's one over there, one over here, and then of course the other posts. So this is kind of what it is for a small wide load. Again, look at the amount of space that it extends, and if you see it on the road itself, you're literally taking edge to edge of each lane. In some cases, you're going into the other lane. So most of the time, traveling with this load, you have to get your steering axle literally on the line of the right side of the road itself, so that way the rear does not overhang and get into the other lane. So that's how you handle oversized loads or wide loads. This is a wide load, and so you have to be cautious on the road to give enough space and clearance. You have to take additional time to give the right of way to the incoming traffic onto the lanes, because people do not see and do not understand that you're wide and you can't really move. So you got to take your time with these wide loads. Park model homes, anything that's wide takes additional time to maneuver. But yeah, this is a typical load for a wide load that we travel or transport. Again, we're pulling this load with our 1-ton pickup truck flatbed. On top of this flatbed, we also have a load that's going to Tacoma. The trailer is going to La Grande, Oregon, and the upper sections on the flatbed, that's going to Tacoma, Washington, to a Ritchie Brothers customer that ended up buying those attachments from Ritchie Brothers in California and needs them in Tacoma. This trailer goes to a different customer that's going to La Grande. About 2 in the morning here in Biggs Junction in east of, I guess, the Dalles, or east of Hood River. Biggs Junctions, it's another truck stop haven. We're at Pilot right here again, getting fuel. It's about 20-some degrees, and of course the road is completely frozen in various places. We got icicles and various black ice forming. I'm getting some fuel here, and I want to show you a little bit about the proximity to get fuel, considering that I've got 11.5 wide. So how do you get into a fuel station with a trailer that's oversized? Well, you don't. That's the answer. You only stick your nose in and you back up, because otherwise you're going to tear up the fuel station. Essentially, this trailer is wider than the opening for the fuel line, and so that means that in order, as you can see, these posts, in order to get through, you got to actually go in and come back. You got to ensure that nobody backs or blocks you in, and put your four-ways on, and then you got to come out and maybe re-navigate your way back out. But essentially, don't try to stick in your trailer, oversized trailer, in a gas line that is too tight. So, you know, these lines are designed for 8.5 or maybe even 9 feet. If you're 11 or anything bigger than that, try not to get in there. You're going to get stuck and you're going to tear up the gas station, especially with an oversized load. However, that said, you know, oversized loads are regular 8.5 or 9 feet wide loads, under 9 feet. All of them require extra careful planning, especially when you're on the road, getting into fuel islands in various places, especially if you're a little bit bigger than what you need to be. So in this case, this 35-foot 11.5 wide load is a pretty reasonable load, considering that it's not top heavy. You know, it's a pretty low down to earth, only about 5 feet, maybe 4.5 feet off the ground. And so that gives it a little bit of comfort because you don't get blown away by the winds. We are again in Biggs Junction on Highway 84. We're heading eastbound through the gorge with 20 degrees temperature and a little bit of precipitation on the ground. Black ice forming everywhere. It's about 2:06 here in Biggs Junction. Gas is about $2 or $5.27 for diesel. That is on well, looks like $4.89. Sorry, with PUC. So $4.95, $4.89, somewhere around there. Oh, cash is $5.27. Anyway, yeah, it's late, 2 in the morning, 2:30, 2:15, somewhere around there. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, we are still en route with this trailer, this stacked dollies, stacked frames for Tiny Home 11.5, heading to La Grande, where it's supposed to be a balmy 20 or 17 degree with some flakes coming down. The road so far, it's been about an hour and a half from Troutdale, where my last stop was, and a couple hours from McMinnville. The road so far has been pretty reasonable. There has been some black ice forming everywhere, but no precipitation. Otherwise, you know, I'm going to continue on and hopefully be ready for delivery in the morning at 7 a.m. with this load, and then returning back towards I guess west on 84 again for a new transport. Oh, I totally forgot why I actually started recording. So just the reason I recorded is I wanted to let you know, and you can see I got a full tank of fuel. It says fuel range 499 miles. In a cold environment, snowy, ice, you know, treacherous areas, make sure, you know, put enough fuel in there just in case. I was about a quarter in, and you know, you don't know where you're going. You don't know what the weather is like, what the road is like, so you may be stuck in the vehicle for a while. So make sure you have diesel or fuel to last you through the night. You know, always keep a half tank full. When you get a little bit past the half point line, get yourself some more fuel just in case you need it. It's about 20 degrees with the wind chill, maybe 17 out here, 20, 25 degrees. As soon as I got out of the vehicle, whew, it was biting me. I mean, I'm wearing pretty decent clothing here, and my legs are completely frozen. My ankles and feet are cold as ice. So the cold air puts a toll on, and it doesn't matter if you're inside of a vehicle. You know, when the engine stops running, wow, any vehicle gets really cold fast, you know, in cold weather. So, all right, well, that is a reminder. Make sure you got enough fuel at all times when you're running in the cold environment on snow, ice, and hazard weather conditions. One of the things I want to mention when driving oversized vehicles or pulling an oversized trailer, basically anything oversized, drivers have to always look ahead of their turning areas, of their obstacles, of the road itself. Anywhere that you're on the road moving, you got to plan ahead. You got to plan an out. You got to always leave yourself enough space to get out or get around specific obstacles or traffic, because nobody else cares for your oversized load, especially if you're in heavily congested areas. With this particular load, unlike with other loads, it is an awkward load that has little visibility from the far distance because it's low to the ground, but at the same time it is oversized, and it does have the signs, but most people don't take the time to pay attention to your signs, no matter how much signage you put on there. You know, you got a wide load on the front bumper, you got a wide load on the rear of the trailer, you got blinking lights, you got marked side lamps, and you got four ways on, but yet they still don't recognize you on the road as oversized. They don't generally think that you need the additional space, and so they don't give you this space. So it's up to you as the driver to think ahead of the time and actually make your way into traffic as an oversized vehicle. So take the space you need and identify your intent early on. So move into the middle of the lane or take the second lane way in advance prior to an obstacle. And with like anybody driving oversized, we all know that, you know, your lane is not necessarily your lane. So you must hug the curb, hug the white line with your right tire, give your load the space on the side so that way you don't take up the two lanes as traffic passes you by. And that goes without saying with obstacles or, you know, construction ahead. You know, on Highway 84 eastbound, you got tons of construction spots where, contractors leave cones and direct traffic on a one-lane road meant for 8.5, 9 feet wide openings. And when you're 11.5, you can't squeeze between cones that are meant for 9 feet wide trucks. So you got to plan ahead of traffic. In the case where you are on your own without a pilot car in front and a pilot car behind, you got to pay attention way ahead of the traffic congestion or the traffic zone, so that way you can make adjustments as you need to. For me, it's been awkwardly here at 2:30 in the morning or 2 in the morning, with again cold and black ice and icicles and various winter hazards falling or conditions, because I'm the only one on the road. I'm the only one on the road with an oversized load, and trucks are still moving randomly, sporadically at different intervals, and trucks want to get past me or they want to get around me. Cars, four-wheelers, want to get past me and around me, and I got to make way for them. So that is something that as a driver in an oversized vehicle, you got to always blend in with the traffic, but at the same time keep your space, intend to identify your vehicle into the traffic, meaning let them know that you are an oversized vehicle, even though that you're marked and they should be able to notice and recognize. Let them know by gesturing, taking up the space before it needs to be taken up. Because you can't take the space when you're blocked in, when you're in 3-lane traffic and you're in the middle lane, and everybody wants to go somewhere. You got to do that way in advance. As a matter of fact, earlier today on this transport, there's heavy congestion on I-205 northbound, and the traffic merging into the freeway wants to get in. And if you're sitting hugging on the right side with construction, you're going to try to give the right of way to the best of your ability to the incoming traffic. And if they don't actually recognize you as an oversized, they kind of tend to get in your way. And that means that you got to give the right of way to the vehicles to your left. So you're kind of stuck in the middle, giving the right of way to the incoming traffic onto the freeway. But also, if they don't stop or they don't speed up or they don't position themselves properly, merging into traffic, they're going to create a hazard for you. And you then got to give the right of way to the rest of the traffic behind you or to your left. It's unlike with a normal heavy load or semi-truck load, a 53-footer that is just the width of the lane. You're just literally driving. You're zoned out. You're in the traffic, but you're still not worried about your extra spaces that you need with a semi-load. With an oversized load, you got to always watch your corners, watch your lanes, watch your sides, watch your flags, watch your front, watch your back, watch the incoming traffic, watch the outgoing traffic, watch the construction ahead of you, watch the lane changes in front of you. There's cars on the side of the road, and half of your load is actually rubbing against literally almost the edge of the curbs, or the barriers. You're in some cases inches away from the guardrails. You're literally almost rubbing the side guardrails on some passes. So those are the areas that you got to constantly be aware and pay attention to your dimensions, and of course pay attention to the traffic in front of you as you approach it, because there's no way that you can turn this thing around within a mile of a congestion if you get in a position where you can't get out. So always pay attention ahead. Make sure you make enough adjustments in your paths early on, so that way you indicate and you identify to the rest of the traffic, hey, I'm an oversized load, I need the space, give me the space. If you don't, we're going to have a problem. Especially so you got to be aggressive in maneuvering your load into traffic, so that way they recognize it. It doesn't matter what they feel like. It doesn't matter that you're taking 2 lanes. It doesn't matter. You are an oversized load. You have permits. You are issued a permit to travel on the road for that purpose, so you can take the space you need and safely pass, especially in areas that are congested or tight. Bridges are a major concern. Always plan out your bridge access or your bridge passing, way before you reach that, especially on a one lane road or 2-lane road where you're coming up on a bridge and traffic is moving forward past you and you're going past them. I ride with my 4-ways on, especially even at 55, 60 miles an hour. I have my blinkers on, and I indicate where I need to, my turning or whichever. If I'm going to exit, I'm going to take my 4-ways off for a brief second and then indicate that I'm going to be exiting. Or if I'm entering, I take my 4-ways off and then I direct, my lights in the back to identify my movement. But generally, when you're riding, like right now, if you can, I don't know if you can see from the camera angle, I'm literally hugging the curb or the line on the right with my rear tire. Most of my load is hanging out about, about 1.5 foot, maybe 2 feet into the emergency lane, just so that way my left side trailer load stays within my lane. And that means all traffic on the left lane on this Highway 84 is able to pass and use the entire left lane for them to continue and moving past me. Even though I'm going about 60 miles an hour, the traffic, 4-wheelers want to pass by at 80 miles an hour. And I want to give them the right to do that if they decide to. So I need to keep my load angled or positioned almost off my lane, you know, so my wheels are literally hugging the line, you know, very close to those alligator markings on the side. Almost every single time, you know, within an inch or so, I can hear sometimes if I'm not adjusting correctly, you know, my tires are running over those tracks. They go, you know, that kind of thing. So when you're doing that, you're recognizing that you're really close to that edge. As you approach, and as I approach up ahead, I can see traffic congestion and I can see construction, and I got to make adjustments before I get there, because my load, like I said, if I can show you, I can't show you because it's 2 in the morning. You can't see anything out there except my little lights that are blinking. But yeah, so my load is literally extended into the emergency lane about 2.5 or 2 feet, you know, close to it, with the cones and the flags, you know, taking, you know, much of the emergency lane. So if a car is broken down in the emergency lane, and I'm actually at this rate keeping my position, and on my left lane there's a semi truck that wants to keep himself in that lane, you know, I'm gonna be knocking into that car. You know, my side trailer is going to literally bang up the windows and the mirrors and the side of that car in the emergency lane. So I got to make adjustments way ahead of my travels so I don't affect the emergency lane traffic or the traffic on my left. So those are the things that most people on the road, commercial drivers, don't really have to worry about. So again, this is an oversized load. All oversized loads are dealt the same. You got to think ahead. You got to plan an out and plan ahead of any kind of congestion or traffic hazard, so that way you can make adjustments as you need to way in advance before you get there. Just a quick video recap. I want to show you guys the difference between black ice and regular paved road. If you see the lane on the left there, that is black ice, straight black ice, reflective of the light itself. And anyway, the lane that I'm currently in, which is just enough that my truck can fit, is pretty clear. But anything on the left side as well as the right side, by the way, I'm at this point top of the mountain up on Cabbage Hill, just past Meacham, 84 eastbound, so going down the hill. Black ice is left, clear road is on the center where I'm at right now. Anytime you want to move left, that's going to be a little slick. So, and this is pretty good. This is how it's been for quite a bit of time now. But there's sections where my road, my path, my lane is completely covered also of black ice, and those areas are a little bit, you know, concerning. But you know, I should be able. I only have a few more miles to go, and I should be able to arrive shortly. Up until this point, there's been passable and non-passable areas that were concerning, but here we are, almost at La Grande. Just information only. It is 19, about 19. It was 18 degrees just a second ago. You see bottom right corner there. You know, you do feel it. You feel it outside the minute you get out, and with the wind chill, you're probably about 10 degrees out in the Grand area as we're approaching. It was my on-board, I guess, thermometer or temperature gauge reads 19 right now at 5:50 or 5:15 a.m. However, it dropped down to like 18 earlier, and yeah, it's pretty cold. Everything is frozen outside, and you know, there's it's winter. So I managed to stop at a weight scale that's closed, and a lot better chance right now before I deliver this product to show you the difference between black ice and And here's the black ice section. It's slick. It's very slick. As a matter of fact, my feet are slippery. It's like an ice ring, and I can't stand up over here. So this is all black ice over here, or white ice, or whatever you want to call ice. And this section is sporadic sections of black ice, but generally you don't want to go on there because you're going to slip and slide. You want to stay where the blacktop is visible. However, it's very hard to pass with a oversized load, a vehicle, or sections that, as you can see up the street up there, there's some trucks that are on the side of the road. To get around those guys, I got to go on the black ice. And if you're traveling at 55, 60 miles an hour on black ice, you don't want to turn your steering wheel, you don't want to apply the brakes, any of that. You want to try to stay on this blacktop as much as possible. Now that we have arrived here in LeGrand at the customer's designated location, we are waiting for the customer to come out and sign for the documents and to receive and to accept the delivery of these 2 trailers. We're here at their provided address, and it's about 17 degrees, maybe 10 degrees with the wind chill here. It's really cold, so we're going to be waiting for them to come out and sign the